for Research in Siddha, Ministry of College. I warmly welcome you all. Of new technologies in Siddha Healthcare Systems highlights the need to integrate innovation with strong regulatory frameworks to advance Siddha Healthcare. We are privileged to have Dr. P. Teinmodi, Research Officer Siddha, Scientist 2, as our speaker for this session. We look forward to her valuable insights. Thank you all for joining. I now invite Dr. Teinmodi to begin the sessions. Thank you.
Good afternoon, one and all. Thank you, Dr. Lamne, for the inauguration speech. And today's topic, enhancing regulatory readiness for adoption of new technologies in Siddha Healthcare System. So we are here to discuss about the regulatory readiness to adopt newer technologies to be inculcated in the Siddha Healthcare Systems. So the next few minutes will be regarding this presentation. Next slide. So I start with the basic introduction. As we all know, Siddha system of medicine is an ancient system of medicine. It has been originated by the Siddhas, who are the spiritual scientists. With their profound wisdom of knowledge, they have developed our Siddha system of medicine. Their prime motto is to attain the mukti. So in order to attain the mukti, our body has to be very healthy. So in order to keep the body healthy, they have developed a system of medicine which is preventive, promotive and curative. That is our Siddha system of medicine. So it has already been written regarding our all the medicines, formulations, drugs. Everything has been already been interpreted as Samuhik manuscripts and ancient Siddha texts, which has been widely preserved. So here we are again repurposing all the formulations for the day-to-day practices. So here we are at a place where new technologies, modernization or emerging. So it is needed to utilize all the modern technologies. We have to combine modern technologies towards the development of the system of medicine. So it is a shift to be happening in developing the system of medicine. Though we have regulations already, which is mandate in all the parts like preparations of the drug or the practice, everything. But this is the time to enhance all this is the time to update our readiness towards acceptance of this modern technologies. So, with this note, we will enter into the readiness. Next. So, what is regulatory readiness? So, without the proper regulation, nothing will be streamlined. So, a stringent regulation is very necessary for every procedures or every activities. So here, what is regulatory readiness? Regulatory readiness is about Sorry for the inconveniences. We will continue the session. So here, what is regulatory readiness? Next. So regulatory readiness, it is how we are getting fully prepared both technically, legally, and ethically to adopt newer technologies in Siddha without compromising its core principles. Because our strength is about the core principles. So we cannot compromise give about regulatory readiness, institutional readiness, digital readiness, and educational readiness. So I just want to cover all of these four topics, which is very essential for the acceptance of modern technology. So readiness is not just about technology. It includes training, infrastructure, and proper regulatory system. So it gives a synergistic working among the proper infrastructure and the regulatory systems. So, what are all the regulatory bodies as of we know is next. So, as we all know, Ministry of Ayush is the overall governs the development of regulations of traditional system and CDS, CO, SASM, ASM, pharmacovigilance, and everything is a part of the regulatory frameworks which governs our system of medicine in all aspects, starting from our drug manufacturing to the clinical practice and also a standard infrastructure and training. Everything is being legally regulated by our regulatory bodies, which gives us many rules and act. So, with this, these are the regulatory bodies which governs our system of medicine. So, next, first, what are the readiness to be adopted? Next, what are the readiness to be adopted in drug manufacturing and research? So, next, regulatory framework for Ayush medicines. For every drug preparation, we have a regulatory framework which is being given by the Drugs and Cosmetic Act 1940, which is the primary legislation that regulates the manufacture, distribution, and sale of drugs, including the ASU medicines in India. And also, it gives certain rules, which is the extension of this Drugs and Cosmetics Act, which gives the detailed procedure for the implementation of all this manufacturing of our Siddha drugs. So, what basically it does is it ensures the safety, efficacy, and quality of the drug. So, we will look into it one by one. Next. So, before going into the manufacturing, the licensing part is very important. Regulatory bodies have a very major role in licensing. That is, the licensing is issued by our state licensing authority, and it is a very mandate for every Ayush drug which is being manufactured. No Siddha drugs can legally be manufactured without proper licensing under these rules. So, for the licensing, we need certain requirements. It has to fulfill certain requirements like the GMP and like that. So, here the role of authorities is very essential. It's very crucial and it is very vital role. So state drug controllers and licensing authorities enforce the rules mainly to maintain the quality of the drug. Only when the drug is manufactured in a very qualified manner, the efficacy will be ensured, the safety of the patient and the safety of the drug will be ensured. So, licensing is a very mandate, and we have to be properly be the ready form to even accept the new modern technologies which should be incorporated in the licensing part also. So, with this licensing, next we will just have a look into the good manufacturing practices because only when a proper cigar drug is being manufactured, it could be efficiently utilized to the patient care and also to the research purposes. The very quality and safe drug will be manufactured only when it is being done in a good manufacturing practices certified industries. So it has a very number of components like proper infrastructure and hygiene, qualified technical staff, SOPs, and quality control laboratory documentations and record keeping. So it also comes under the Drugs and Cosmetic Act, and it has given a number of rules for each and every point which is being mentioned here, and it has a separate SOPs to be followed in order to get a GMP certified. So only when we are GMP certified, we will be able to employ some of the modern technologies and we will be ready to accept a certain modern technological involvement in the development. So it will be easier for us to monitor whether the modern technologies could be easily implemented. Like we can cover raw material procurement, manufacturing process, packaging and labeling, storage and distribution. These are all the parts where modern technologies can be involved. Like we can use some of the modern techniques for the materials identification, and even the manufacturing process can be feasible and easy by involving some of the modern techniques and the newly emerged. We can use the newly emerging tools and techniques in the manufacturing process. Only when we are GMP certified and only when we have very good infrastructure to manufacture a good drug, we can be ready to involve the modern technologies into the manufacturing unit. So GMP is essential for maintaining the standardized high quality Irish drugs. It bridges the traditional medicine with the modern regulatory standards. And the rules for this is been given in the Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940 and Drugs and Cosmetic Rules 1945. So GMP certified industry is pharmacy is very important. Next, GCP, good clinical practice. So clinical practice is to set ethical and scientific quality standards to run a clinical trial. So it ensures the safety, rights, and well-being of a participant. So the key principles is the protection of the human subjects. Informed consent is mandatory in order to maintain the ethics, and trials must be scientifically solved. We have to maintain the integrity and confidentiality. Though we may use many AI tools or modern technological tools, but the ethical point has to be very much strictly protected in order to maintain the to gain the trustworthiness of the patients or the subjects in the clinical trial, and also we must ensure the protection of data which is being collected during the clinical trial. So the readiness towards the clinical trials can be highly implemented by following the good clinical practice. So the key components include the ethics committee approval, qualified investigators, proper study protocol, accurate documentation and reporting, monitoring and auditing. So only when we have a proper study protocol, we can run the clinical trial so that it gives a space for the newer technologies and the newer implementation of tools So proper protocol gives us a space so we can get by getting a proper approval, we can monitor the clinical trial in a very good way so that our Siddha system of medicine will be enhanced to the global platform. And here it is the same is guided by the Drugs and Cosmetics Act and the Cosmetics Rules. So GCP guidelines plays a very major role in regulatory readiness towards accepting the modern technologies. Next. Same with the drug testing laboratory. So, a very certified laboratory is very essential for the proper conduction of the study for a trial drug or for the medicines to be given to the patients. So, it opens the approval process for drug testing laboratories. So, currently, 106 laboratories being authorized for the quality of polished drugs and raw materials. Laboratories has to be maintained and it has to be very well ready for acceptance of the modern technologies, and it helps the quality of the drugs. Next is the quality control standards. So though we have GMP certified pharmacy, we also need, and it is also essential to have the quality control standards, which is being given by the PCI and it establishes quality control standards. These standards covers identity, purity, and strength of the drugs. So our raw materials and the formulations, which is being already being published, but we are in a place where we have to authenticate whether the raw materials are standardized or whether the raw materials is the same which is being mentioned, and the purity of the raw materials or purity of the drug has to be monitored, and so that we are giving a quality of medicine to the community for the health purpose. Here, we can apply the tools. Various tools have been applied for identification, for the purity, and to identify the raw drugs. So we must enhance proper standard operating procedures for all these guidelines to ensure with the quality standards of identification, purity, and strength of the drug. So preparedness and readiness towards the proper manufacturing of a drug or the proper identification of a drug is very mandated. So we can allow the modern technologies to come and develop the drug standardization. So next is the research initiatives. Once the drug is being prepared as per the SOPs in a proper certified pharmacy, the drug is ready for the research. So, like our research councils, we are in a place to take up the drug for further future research activities. So now we are in an era of using AI tools and other modern technologies like molecular blocking or simulations, computer technologies, everything. So only when drug is very standardized and it is up to the safety level, we are taking to the next level of research activities like preclinical and clinical studies. So it has been a part where the modern technologies and innovations are highly entering into that area. So here the readiness is very essential. So the government promotes scientific research in the Ayush systems, councils for research focus on medicinal plans, drug standardization and clinical trials. Collaborative efforts with universities, hospitals enhances research credibility. Next. So as we all know, these are the standardization and quality evaluation of a health drug by doing the preclinical studies, organoleptic studies, physical-chemical, biological, preclinical, animal studies, analytical studies. Everything involves the stringent SOPs and rules, so that in the upcoming future we will be having many number of modern technologies rather than this, and also many number of modern technologies in every aspects of this research. So we must be in a place where we have to strict regulatory frameworks to accept those modern technologies. Next. So now we are in a position to know about the institutional regulatory readiness. So for every institution who is having the clinical practice or the research activities, the regulatory readiness in the aspect of institution is very mandated. Next. So first is the NABH, that is the National Accreditation Board for Hospital and Healthcare Providers. It ensures the patient safety, quality care, standard protocols, and contribution is that it promotes standardization of Siddha hospitals. Though we may manufacture the drug in a very good GMP certified industry, though we follow the GCP guidelines, everything takes place in the institution. So the institution infrastructure, and all the accreditations are very essential to streamline the regulatory program. So here, NABH plays a very major role, and it has to be a mandate in every institution to be obtained in order to maintain the infrastructure and proper streamlining of every branches of departments in the institution. So here it encourages documentation and SOPs, improves clinical governance. So NABH ensures quality and patient safety standards in Ayush hospitals. Next. So equally, NABH is also a mandate, that is National Accreditation Board for Testing and Calibration Laboratories. It gives an accuracy of test results, quality assurance in labs. So it ensures the quality and reliability of the laboratory testing in Ayush, and it validates drug testing at research labs. So we are here in a position to give a quality data to the world, so that it has to come from a qualified laboratory. So for that, NABL is very mandated, and it has to be obtained to ensure that our data are quality and reliable. Next. This is the PCPNTT Act, and this is also a very crucial part of institutional readiness, so that it ensures that the ethical use of the diagnostic technologies. The word ethical, that is, only that we are ethically in all frameworks, whatever I have mentioned, whenever we follow the ethical rules, then it will be easier for us to apply the modern technologies and tools into the curriculum. So in that aspect, here this act ensures the ethical use of the diagnostic technologies, and it ensures the ethical and lawful use of the diagnostic technology. So in every part, in every thing that has been discussed, it ensures the proper infrastructure of an institute. Next. This is the Clinical Establishments Registration and Regulation Act 2010. Here, the registration and regulation of healthcare facilities. The main role of the CA Act is to ensure the registration and regulations. So it sets a minimum standards for infrastructure and services, and it contributes the standardization of our hospital. It ensures the basic quality and safety norms and improves the approachability. So CA ensures a minimum standards and uniform regulations for healthcare facility. So when our infrastructure meets up the basic infrastructure and has a very basic needs of all the accreditation, we are ready to face any modern technologies or tools that can be incorporated in our system. So this is very mandated and essential to follow all these accreditations. Next. So the integrated role in regulatory readiness mainly imply on NABH, that is, it ensures the quality and patient safety of the institute as well as the patient, and NABL, which gives an accuracy of lab test and also the research validity, and PNTT gives the ethical use of the diagnostic tools and studies, and CA, which gives the basic, it ensures the basic infrastructure for all these accreditations. So regulatory readiness through these frameworks ensures that oil system like Siddha are safe, ethical, standardized, and globally acceptable. So with this, we an important regulatory framework, that is the pharmacovigilance. So we are ready with the drug, and we are ready with the institution, and we are ready with the patient. But when we administer the drug to the patient, we may encounter some adverse drug reactions, which is also a mandate and essential to document the adverse drug reactions. So it is a greater science where the documentation of the adverse drug reactions and ensuring the patient safety is the mandate. So Ministry of Ayush is focusing and in a robust manner, and has created a central sector scheme regarding the pharmacovigilance, and they are more vigilant in monitoring the adverse drug reactions and documenting the adverse drug reactions. So we have a separate portal, and we are documenting it in the regular terms. So with this documentation, we are regulating the manufacture and quality of the ASU drugs. We are preventing the adulteration and spurious drugs for area monitoring, and drug safety is very much ensured. So, Drugs and Cosmetic Act play a key role in ensuring the safety of Ayush drugs, and this has been Siddha medicine through regulatory provisions which supports pharmacovigilance, that is the drug safety monitoring system. Next. And same, Drugs and Magical Remedies Objectionable Advertisement Act 1954. Same way in the pharmacovigilance program, we also ensure the documentation of misleading advertisements or objectionable advertisements, which has been elaborately given in the Drugs and Magical Remedies Act, which prohibits the misleading advertisements. So, by that way, we prevent false and exaggerated claims, protect the public from misleading advertisements, promote the rational use of medicines. So, by this, the Ministry of Ayush monitors the Ayush drugs through pharmacovigilance centers, and it has been coming under many of the regulatory mechanisms. That is not only the state drug licensing authority, but it comprises many number of regulatory bodies to ensure that any not even not very misleading advertisements to be given. Next. So these are the regulatory bodies which monitors the misleading advertisements. So whenever we get some advertisements in the newspapers or postal pamphlets, we can report it to the Press Council of India. And same way in social media, television, Facebook, Instagram, it could be given in the reported in the information and broadcasting. But when it is about the drug, it has to be reported to the state licensing authority for further action. And for the food products, FSSAI, and regarding the registered practitioners, it is NCISM. And these are all the regulatory bodies of the system, that is the Ayush system of medicine, who are very much vigilant towards the misleading advertisement. Next. So, what about the digital readiness? As we are all in the digital era, we are to look for the emerging tools and technologies, and it is the time to ensure the digital readiness. So, we may see like electronic health records, artificial intelligence, telemedicine, and many number of lab tools are being in the market now, and every part of artificial intelligence was being imparted in every part of technologies. So it is essential for the digital readiness for every practitioner. Next. So, for examples, I have given some of the modern technologies which have been applied to the ancient practices. Like we all know some of the ancient practices, like diagnostic tools like Nadi, and all like tongue, manikadai tool, tongue examination. Many more. I have given some of the examples, but many tools which is being adopting the modern technologies and artificial intelligence tools. It has been in the market and it has been widely used nowadays. So the ancient traditional knowledge meets the modern technology, and it is the time to regulate all these technologies in a proper framework. So even in the study of a drug, we incorporate some of the machine learning, computational biology, molecular docking, natural learning processing, network pharmacology, omics like metabonomics, proteomics, everything. So it was the previous era like using a single target for a single medicine for a single target, but now we are at an era where we use multiple drugs for a multiple target. As like our traditional system of medicine, we have a multiple number of ingredients in a particular drug, which we utilize it for the multiple targets. Right? So it needs much higher technology to analyze. So we are using some of the technologies like molecular dissimulation and molecular docking, lead optimization, like network pharmacology, some of the tools which is being nowadays used for the development of drug molecule or to validate our drug. So here we are again repurposing our drug towards the disease. Next. So here, expanding the digital repositories under the Ayush Center. So our Ministry of Ayush has a separate sector of Ayush Grid. There is a separate cell which focuses on all the modern technologies and modernization and tools which is being emerging. And we have our many portals which is being under that, many dictionaries. Next. So for examples, I have given our AHMS, our Namaste portal, WHO Standard Technologies, Ayush Research portal. So we are also evolving along with our modern technologies to meet out the standards. So we have AHMS, which is the data being stored, the patient data, the OPD census. So we are creating a big data. Only when we create a data, we can apply the science or we can apply the modern technologies or the artificial intelligence. Unless or until we don't have any repositories or data, we are unable to incorporate any modern technologies. So by creating a data, like we have created the WHO terminologies, Namaste portal, and we have the collection of manuscripts in the journals, in the portal, Ayush Research portal. And so these are all the repositories we have created to ensure we can apply the modern technologies in the Siddha system of medicine also. Next. So same way, this is our Ayush Suraksha portal and Yate. So digital readiness improves documentation, accessibility, and monitoring. So documentation is the first essential. Only when we document, we can create a data. Only we have a data, we can access, we can assess, and we can ensure the application of the modern technologies. Next. So what about till now we have seen the digital readiness, and now we are moving on to the educational readiness. So what is educational? So National Commission for Indian System of Medicine, which is NCISM, which plays a very major role in the educational readiness. As we all know, they frame the curriculum syllabus and they set standards for UG and PG education and ensures a uniform education quality. So uniform education quality is very essential to update and upgrade. So whenever some modern implements are being happening, we must ensure whether the UG and PG curriculum also on par with the modern emergence. So that is being ensured by the NCISM. So they promote the educational readiness by introducing the modern teaching methods. They give skill-based training and they integrate the traditional knowledge with the modern science. So it regulates the, and also very important, they have a national register of practitioners. So whenever we come across any non-registered medical practitioners, we can report it to the NCISM as they have the data regarding the practitioners, and also they regulate the professional conduct and ethics. So by ensuring proper education and by ensuring proper teaching skills, we are ensuring the readiness towards the modern changes. Next. So here we are in the platform of iGOT Karmayogi. So we are doing the Samuhik Charcha in that. So what is the role of iGOT Karmayogi portal in regulatory readiness? Because as in the profession or in the government sector, we are in a position to upgrade and update ourselves towards the modern development. So capacity building platform is very essential, which is being provided by the government to the officials. So it is a very ready reckoner in our hands. So we are in a place to utilize the platform to upgrade ourselves. So it provides training on regulations and governance. It enhances digital and professional skills. It builds a competent workplace, and it also strengthens the regulatory readiness. So it promotes continuous learning culture. So with this Karmayogi portal, we can update ourselves towards the modern development and all the newer things about the newer technologies being in the world. Next. So what are all the challenges we are facing? So we are talking about the newer technologies and modern technologies, but what's actually the challenge for when it is being implemented? So lack of awareness towards the regulations, inadequate infrastructure, limitedly trained manpower, weak documentation practices. As I have earlier mentioned, so we have to train ourselves and documenting. We have to promote the documentation culture and insufficient research evidence. We have to create evidences, resistance to change. So it is a time to change. So we have to be open to all the innovations and modern technologies. We have to update and upgrade ourselves those technologies so we can incorporate in our research area. Then poor digital integration and regulatory complexity, because many regulations are there and it creates a complexity in the regulatory framework. So challenges must be addressed for successful implementation. Next. So ethics, as I have already mentioned, ethics plays a very major role. Whatever the innovations or whatever the modern techniques may emerge, but we have to stick on to the ethics. Only when we are ethically strong and only when we follow the ethical grounds, we can ensure the safety of the patient and the drug. So here ensures the patient safety and rights, guides responsible use of the new technologies, prevents the misuse and unethical practices, and strengthens the trust in healthcare system. So these are all the points to be ethically we have to ensure whether the ethics being applied in all phases of readiness. Next. So this is the roadmap. A structured roadmap ensures that Siddha Healthcare becomes modern, evidence-based, and globally competitive. So first we must have some awareness of what's happening. What are all the technologies being in the system, and what are all the artificial intelligence tools, or what are all the newer technologies is being in the world. So we must be more aware of what's happening, and we must be in a position to create a good infrastructure to meet up the modern technologies. So the infrastructure maintenance and expanding the infrastructure, and also developing the regulations in part of the emerging technologies. We have to update our regulations very strictly, and digitalization, research, and implementation. Finally, monitoring. So these are the roadmap for implementing the readiness towards the modern technology emergence. Next. So this is a very eye-opening thing that's happening in the world, like global collaboration, positioning Ayush on the world stage. As we all know, our global recognition for our traditional medicine is gaining momentum, and Ministry of Ayush plays a very key role in shaping the global, to take the Ayush system towards the global. So recently, mapping the application of artificial intelligence in traditional medicine. It is a technical brief which is being released and by the WHO, and it recognizes India's innovation and implementation of AI in the traditional medicine sector. And it is a proud moment for us, and it is a benchmark. We are in a position to take our Siddha system of medicine collaboratively with the newer modern technologies into the global platform. Next. So, with this note, I would like to conclude a well-structured roadmap for regulatory readiness is essential, and evidence-based healthcare system is essential. By strengthening the infrastructure, ensuring the compliance with the regulatory framework, promoting research and adopting digital technologies, we can safely integrate innovation without losing our traditional wisdom. So this will not improve patient care but also enhance the global acceptance and credibility of our IGOT system of medicines. That is the IGOT system. So regulatory readiness next. Regulatory readiness is the bridge between the next. Regulatory readiness is the bridge between the Siddha tradition and the future healthcare innovation. So together we develop ourselves, we upgrade and update ourselves towards the modernization of healthcare to bring the Siddha system of medicine for the global acceptance. Thank you one and all for giving me this opportunity. Next. And I wish to acknowledge our Professor Dr. N.J. Muthukumar, Director General CCRS, and Dr. P. Satyarajesh sir for giving me this opportunity to present today. Thank you. Any doubts? Discussions are invited. Session is open for the discussion.
The forum is open for discussion. Thank you all. Now, I express my heartfelt thanks to respected Director General Sir, Professor Dr. N.J. Muthukumar Sir, for giving us the opportunity to conduct a webinar on the iGOT Karmayogi portal. And I express my heartfelt thanks to our in-charge Dr. P. Satyarajesh Sir, as a Director, Scientist School, for his valuable guidance and permission to conduct this webinar. And I thank to all the in-charges of the CCRS Institute and research officers from various institutes, those who are connected through online, and Karmayogi mentors, Dr. Ganesan sir and Dr. Gayatri Gunanan ma'am, and for giving us this opportunity. And special thanks to our speaker, Dr. P. Temoli ma'am, to given his valuable idea about the futuristic development of the from medicine. And I given my thanks to our research officers and staff members of SRM Cherry for the successful conduction of this event. Thank you, Mona.
Thank you all for the patient hearing.